This module will introduce the concept of standard work. By the end of this module, learners will be able to define standard work and its importance, define and explain key elements of standard work, discuss examples of standard work, and understand the do's and don'ts of standard work. Standard work is the foundation of continuous quality improvement. It allows you to see variation within the process and identify areas for improvement. Standard work is a simple and precise description of work activities that specifies the length of time and the order of specific tasks needed to conduct an activity. It can also be described as a simple description of the best known steps to perform a job in the most efficient and consistent way. The first clue that you need standard work is when you are mapping out your current state or process and see that everyone does it differently, where everyone does what's right to them. Standard work provides a visual summary of the detailed procedure. It gives you a place to start, and from there, you can see if there are deviations or needs for improvement to the process. Without having a process documented, it's difficult to improve it. Standard work is not permanent, a substitution for training, detailed standard operating procedure, or meant to discourage creativity or individual style. Standard work is meant to be flexible. As the process improves, so does the standard work. It is to be used as a cheat sheet to help staff recall how to do the process. It can't, however, be a substitution for training. Everyone still needs to be properly trained in their job. Standard work should be no more than 2 pages, visual, and placed near where the work is done. It isn't meant to take out creativity or individual styles. For example, in the sales department, you can create a standard procedure for sales calls, but leave room for individuals to have their own style when establishing rapport with the customer. And in scripting certain call types, each person knows what tasks to complete when talking to the customer, according to the script, but each can have their own style of interacting with the customer. Standard work is the basis for all improvement. If you don't know the process and can't say there is a standard, and people are doing it differently, it is really hard to improve the process. Having a set standard for completing a process allows you to easily identify the breakdowns so that you can look for ways to improve. Set standards also reduce variation in the process, which can help reduce variation in the outcome. If you understand the various steps in your job, you will probably be more productive and efficient. It is also particularly helpful when new staff come on board, or when you have staff covering for another staff person. They can step in and quickly understand the tasks that they need to perform. Improve staff satisfaction. We all want to do a good job, and standard work makes it easier to understand what needs to be done and what the expectations are. You can find a lot of standard work templates available online. Whichever format you use, you want to note the following items. What are the high-level tasks that need to be completed? Who will be responsible for completing these specific tasks? How do you perform these tasks? How much time will it take? Including time is important because if the task isn't completed in the expected time, it is considered an abnormality and maybe another opportunity for improvement. Including a time frame or range of time for each task helps to account for any potential variability among staff. For example, you could include specific times, let's say 5 to 10 minutes, or specific days of the week that a task must be performed by, i.e., must be given to Budget Office by COB each Tuesday. Here is an example of a standard process for a Women, Infant, and Children, or WIC, client flow. It clearly spells out the process step, key points, and reasons for each point in the process, so it is easy for anyone to understand. Other examples of standard work include a picture hung in a conference room to show the standard layout that the tables and chairs should be returned to after each use. Also, a checklist of daily tasks that should be performed by a section manager. Each of these are short and to the point, but include all the information necessary for completing the tasks at hand. When developing standard work, try to make it as simple and straightforward as possible. Typically no more than 2 pages, incorporate visuals, and keep it in the work area. It won't be helpful if it is buried somewhere or not easily accessible. Gain input from staff involved in the process, who do the work on a regular basis to help identify what is the best practice. Create a balance between rigid and flexible. Make sure that it is flexible enough to be changed if the process changes. It also needs to be tested with staff before rolling out to be sure it is effective and usable. Once the standard work document has been created and tested, it is necessary to ensure that supervisors and staff are trained and understand why it is important to follow the standard work procedure and documents, and to understand that this can be changed later if needed. And remember, always look for ways to improve. Here are some don'ts of standard work. Don't use standard procedures as standard work. Put it in a desk drawer or hide it on a server. Push it on supervisors and staff. Blame staff if they don't follow it. Make it inflexible and difficult to change. Or change the process without changing the standard work. Now let's try it. Where do you need to create standard work? What structure will you use for standard work? For example, checklist, a visual guide, a template form, etc. Brainstorm the main components by answering the following questions. What tasks are to be performed? Who will perform these tasks? How do you perform the tasks? What time is required to complete each task? I encourage you to use the provided link below to check out the Quality Improvement Step-by-Step Guide for links to the standard work example and template. If you need additional assistance, please contact us at info@improvepartners.org for a consultation. Thanks for listening.